We are live. Hey everybody, it's Dan Latto speaking. So let's talk about property sourcing. And in this video, I just want to go through some of the things that your property sourcing trainer probably won't tell you. So we've got 5 different things. We'll go through them one by one. You've got any questions, then just pop them in the box below. Hopefully I'll see them. Hopefully I'll answer them for you. If you've got any questions, then let me know. If you want to buy the property sourcing training that we do, it's 27 quid. You can buy that below, the link's there. So number one then, the first thing, and this happened more so a year ago than it definitely does today because people are much more aware. One of the reasons people are more aware is that one of my clients helps make people aware. So the first one is compliance. There was a time a year ago when people said, oh, no, you don't need to be compliant. No, it's fine. You don't need any of that stuff. You don't need any qualifications to just get up and start sourcing deals and off you go. And we know that that's not true. And my client is a lady called Tina Walsh. You should go check her out on Facebook. She's very, very good at getting people compliant. We cover some compliance in the training course, but honestly, if you want absolute compliance, you go on one of Tina's training courses. She's very good at what she does. She's an ex-copper, very rules orientated, and she'll help you make sure you're fully compliant if you're going to run a property sourcing training company. Now, I personally don't source anymore. I've not sourced for a little bit of time now, so I'm no longer compliant. I'm GDPR registered and we have insurance and all of that kind of thing, but I'm not registered with Ombudsman and that kind of thing either, so I no longer actually source deals other than ones for myself. But you as a property sourcer have to be compliant, and if you're not compliant, you might get a knock on the door, and we don't want that. Get registered with HMRC, get registered with GDPR, get registered with the Ombudsman, make sure you have all your insurances in place, registered with the PRS. But if you want to get more information on that, go visit Tina's Facebook page, Property Sourcing Compliance, or Get Property Compliant, I think it is, and she can help you. And she runs training courses that will help you step by step. She runs a 12 steps to being compliant training course. So that was number one. You've got to be compliant. I used to say that it wasn't necessary. Did other property sourcing trainers. I've never said that. I've always maintained you have to be compliant. Where you draw the line on compliance, by the way, because some people do this, they are not yet compliant, haven't got everything ticked, they're applying for it, and it can take a little bit of time, and it can cost a little bit of money, up to £1,000. And so they're still sourcing deals. Now, technically, you're not allowed to do that. I think that's more of a grey area. Tina would bite my head off if I said that. So go do what Tina says. She's the compliance queen, and you need to do what Tina says on that. Number 2, then, it can take a while. You know, I've seen people that go to training courses and they're jumping up and down, and I've been on training courses and I've jumped up and down, and everyone's really excited, and you get home and you do all the work, and then it takes ages for you to get some results. It can take a while. Like, you might get really lucky. You might get your first deal immediately. We had a client and he went and did that, and then he's like, oh, got a deal, I don't know what to do next. It's quite funny. But most people, that doesn't happen. It can take 3 months, it can take 6 months, it can take 2 years. We had a client, it literally took them 2 years. And the reason it took them 2 years is that their mindset wasn't in the right place. And then when they hit the switch, they were doing deal after deal after deal. But the problem wasn't the activity, it was on the mindset. And we're going to talk about mindset a little bit later on. But this is one of the things that people don't say. People get excited and they bring people up on stage, they're jumping around, we're all excited, we've got deals. What they probably don't tell you is it took them a while to get that first deal. It's like, once you got the first one, the floodgates open, and it makes it so much easier to get the second one and the third and the fourth. And in fact, we say this during the training. We say, if you can go and get your first one, forget about the money, just get your first one across the line. If you can get one across the line, you get others across the line. But too many people are going, well, I want £3,500 for that deal because we've got bills to pay, right? So I got £3,500 for that deal, and then the deal never quite passes the line, never gets over the finishing line because they're too focused on the money instead of being focused on getting the deal across the line, and it's not good. It really doesn't help them. So you've got to make sure that, you know, if it's a choice between money and experience, go for the experience. I know that's wildly unpopular as an opinion, but it's the best thing that you can do for the longevity of you being a business owner and a property sourcer. And so that's what you should do. I know most people won't listen to that because everybody wants the money because they've got bills to pay. I totally get it. Next one then, everybody's going to think you're mad. And people will say things to you like, but why would an investor buy from you when they can just go on Rightmove and buy it off Rightmove? It's because they're not looking on Rightmove in the areas that you're looking, maybe. Or they haven't got time to go on Rightmove and look at the areas. And by the way, looking on Rightmove is just one out of many strategies that you can implement. It's a good strategy. It's a strategy that works. We've done that ourselves. In fact, we've sourced some deals for us, both ones that we've bought below market value and with ones that are great cash flowing and ones that are rent to rent, where we've seen them up for rent and we've seen them up for sale, and they're both not selling and not renting. We've taken them on board and we've rented those. Some of those we've even lease optioned, where we've sold them on as a lease option to someone else and sold that deal on, made a couple of grand doing it that way as well. But literally everyone around you is going to think you're mad. Anyone who's not in property thinks you're crazy anyway. What, are you telling me that I can get a 100 grand house for 70 grand? That's impossible. Literally, that's what people will say. They just think you're crazy, mad, it doesn't happen. Who in the right mind would sell that 30% below market value? They can't get their head around it. And just because they can't get their head around it doesn't mean the thing actually doesn't exist, because we know that it does. And we know that it does because we've already done it. Next one then, you're going to have to sift through the leads that you get. So we had a client and they wanted to be, they just wanted rent to rent. They didn't have mortgages, they didn't have deposits, they didn't want to buy them themselves, they just wanted rent to rent. And they were going, yeah, but I just want to market for rent to rent. And there is specific marketing that you can do just for rent to rent. But generally, you're going to get all sorts of leads coming in, okay? If you're putting out enough marketing and you're doing the right type of marketing and you're putting all the effort in, you're going to start generating these leads. You're not just going to generate rent to rent leads and that's it, okay? So you've got to pick up the phone. You've got to speak to the person who's got whatever property problem they happen to have, and there's all sorts of different problems. You got to pick up the phone and you got to speak to them. You go, right, Mr. Smith, what's your situation? Where are you up to? And you don't want to do that like straight off the first phone call, because some of it's quite personal. You need to start building rapport. So you want to do that when you're actually on site. So you work very first phone call, right, Mr. Smith, I've got your lead here. Your email's come in. It says you're struggling. What I want to do is I want to find out a little bit more about the property first of all, and then once I've got that information, I'd like to book an appointment so I can come and speak to you face to face. That's the next step. And the belief system here is that you always sell the next step. Most people, when, it's like, imagine going on a first date. You're not going to jump into bed on a first date. Some people do, but most people don't, okay? And you don't talk about what you're going to name your kids on the first date because it scares everybody off. But for some reason in business, everyone wants to have that conversation with, let's get down and give you 30% off on a phone call. That's crazy. That's not going to work. You sell the next step. So the first step is the phone call. Find out a little bit about the property. The next step is let's meet you face to face, and we can look at the property, and then we can find out where you're at, and then you can work out where we're at, and hopefully we can meet in the middle and do a deal for you. So you're selling that next step. And then when you're at the property, you can then sell the next step, which is an offer. And you've got to do that in the right order. To begin with, you have to sift through the leads and you have to know how to qualify them. And that's all in the training. Final thing here, number 5, is mindset. Your mindset is going to give up before everything else. You're going to put out leaflets. It's not going to work. You're going to respond to people. That's not going to work. You're going to put adverts out. That's not going to work. You're going to have billboards and adverts on the side of buses, and that's not going to work. And then you're going to give up. And that's just month 1, okay? And this is why only a small percentage of people actually make this as a regular income. This is the thing that the gurus ain't telling you on those training courses, okay? Your mindset is one of the most important aspects here. And this is what you've absolutely got to wrap up into a little bubble of positivity and opportunity and optimism that you can do this. Because if not, if that wrapping around your mind has a little leak and little bits of negativity go in there, it will feed on itself and take over your mindset, and then you give up, and then you move on to the next thing, drop shipping, Amazon, all this extra, being a public speaker, all this stuff that we know as entrepreneurs that we do. It's our Achilles heel. We see little shiny butterflies all over the place and go for them, little shiny object syndrome. So your mindset, you've got to be absolutely fully focused on going in to get this done. And if you can do that, then you're going to be successful. If you can't do that, then you're going to end up giving up, unfortunately. And that's not going to be conducive to you being a long-term property sourcer. Hope that's useful. The link's down below. It's 27 quid. If you want to go pick that up, then go do that. Other than that, we'll catch up with you on the next video. My name's Dan Latter. Have a good day. Take care.